Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we have a whole bunch of in-progress features to show you. As I mentioned last week, I'm still in the midst of migration to Unity 5.5, and along the way, sort of rebuilding a number of systems that have been shades of janky or not generalized enough, things like input and locomotion and such. But I thought I'd start out this week by showing you a new feature that I'm incredibly excited about. It's not quite done yet, but it's getting there, and it has to do with how we manipulate ammunition. Now, in H3, those of you who've, say, used shotguns might have lamented that we're always sort of with ammunition limited to the fact that we can hold one round in each hand at a time and one in each quick belt slot. I know it, some of you have commented that it makes meat grinder in particular kind of a pain in the butt because you have to use up all these quick belt slots just to carry 5 or 6 rounds of shotgun ammunition. And so I have endeavored to fix this problem with all ammunition. So let's go ahead and dump some of these out of this magazine. So what do we have here? Well, this was inspired by, basically by a sort of cheat that I do with all of the magazines, which is that when this round is in my hand, it's a real shotgun round, meaning that it collides with the table, it has all of the parameters for being a round, and when it goes into a magazine here, it ceases to be. This is just called a proxy. It's just the sort of visual component of the shell. It's none of its other complex functionality. What I have done is effectively build that potential of creating proxies into every round. So what we can do is hold a round in our hand, overlap another round, and click down on the touchpad to palm that round, essentially putting it beneath it in our hands. It's now a proxy. We can do this several times. With shotgun shells, this is limited to a row of 5 in the palm. With the smaller rounds, it's limited to 10. And basically, while you're holding these bottom ones are not real. They don't collide. They're just a sort of display round. But the moment that I drop them, they all become, as you can see, completely real again. So let's go ahead and pick those up again. Of course, I would have the problem controller touchpad-wise in my main hand today. And if we drop them into our quick belt slot, we can see they become this handy little jumble here. I can spawn lock this. Let's use the reliable controller. Pull them out, and I have another set to work with. So I can say, take our 255, goodbye, break action, and go like this to chamber those. Significantly faster to operate. Now you might ask, what if we have a bunch of different kinds of the same round in our hand, like this rainbow assortment we have here? Well, I can pick these up into to one hand. They maintain their order, which means that if I pop them into the quick belt slot and pull them back out, they still have that order. I can click left or right on the touchpad to cycle them, like so. That's back, that's forward. So we can totally pull the one that we happen to want into our hand. I'm going to, once again, spawn lock that. It's a fun combination. Wonderful. We can also do a number of other fun things with these. So like if I pick up 2 of these in each hand, I can move this hand over to the other one and click up on the touchpad and dump that round into the other hand. As long as I keep the trigger held here, I can dump them back as well. I can use these to rapidly fill a magazine, like so, or dump them back out into the hand, like that. There are a couple interactions that are still missing, but I'm trying to cover as many of them as possible because this is a sort of special purpose system just for the ammunition. I can pick them up here and I can dump them individually. Let's pull that out of that. I should be able to dump these individually into this quick belt slot, like so. And I should be able to do that with this magazine. Yep, there we go. out of the magazine and into the quick belt. So this should hopefully allow you to use ammunition, combinations of ammunition, magazines, and your quick belt slots in significantly more flexible combinations, and as such make the process of using sort of break action and pump action shotguns significantly more convenient. So yeah, so with that, let's go ahead and let's spawn lock those and go ahead and stand up. Let's talk about our next feature. Oh, I'll talk about that new teleportation reticle in a moment, which is harnessing. This has been requested for a little while now. I'm going to pop some glow ring sights on this because I love them. Awesome. So one thing that, especially those of you who do, say, 3-gun stuff, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up there, have commented about is that you love the ability to sort of harness a firearm to your chest so that when you release it, instead of it dropping to the ground, it actually just returns to the quick belt. And I have implemented this. Before I show it to you, though, let's go ahead and prepare our, whoops, man, I am just dropping everything today. Our secondary 45 ACP, load that up. Beautiful. So we have our secondary prepared. We have a shotgun here. Once again, out of the quick belt. 2, 3, 4, 5. Prepare that. And to harness this, basically what we do is we place it in a quick belt slot. And you'll see I'm using a new quick belt configuration here. When the next update drops, you'll be able to pick between a bunch of them. We hover over that quick belt slot and change its color, just like we do to spawn lock. In this case, it turns green. And what this allows us is if I pull the shotgun out here and then release it, it just snaps right back to the harness. So we can have our primary out like so, and just drop it and quickly pull out our secondary. So yeah, for those of you who like to speed shoot with several firearms or just like jumping between a bunch, you can now do this. Basically anything that is an SMG rifle or non-break action shotgun is harnessable. Basically anything you can imagine actually attaching a harness to. So yeah. Let's go ahead and load this back up. And now, last but not least, we have that reticle that you might have seen. So I have been working on rebuilding H3's Locomotion options from scratch. And I truly mean from scratch. It's going to be significantly more modal, meaning that the current sort of Locomotion options are this sort of mess of all of these ways you can configure things. It's not clear what option is relevant. I've now siloed them into specific modes, so it's way more clear, and they all work way more reliably. So to start with, we have our regular touchpad. Not touchpad, just teleport, which we're using the menu button. It's an arc now instead of a straight line, and we can see on the ground there the corners of our bounds. Everything about the way that this looks visually is going to be customizable. You can use a more, instead of a sort of human-sized reticle there, you'll be able to use a more reduced one on the ground. You'll be able to turn the corners on and off, as well as change the color of all of this, along with the controllers, once it's done. So yeah, you'll notice that standing cylinder there rotates to face. I also have a version of this designed specifically for touch users who are using 2 front-facing cameras, where basically instead of that reticle rotating to face like this, you'll actually roll the controller left and right to be able to rotate the facing of it. So yeah, so that should hopefully help out for those of you who can't have a 360 setup. So now we want to change our locomotion mode. What else do we have? Well, first off, the touchpad menu, as you know, is going to be going away. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to do object grabs, but all those other options are no longer there. They're way too easy to accidentally trigger because we're using the touchpad for other things. So instead, I've created this new wrist menu that you basically just activate by turning the controller towards yourself with an empty hand. We can move up and down it using the touchpad so we can reload the scene, clean the scene up, spawn the options panel, or right here, quickly toggle our locomotion mode. So I'm in teleport now. I'm going to click and I'm going to go to dash, which works like so. Turn it back over, slide to target, which is basically an incredibly slow dash, you could say, just perfectly linear movement. I know some folks prefer this one. Our new touchpad style movement, which is now incredibly close to the way that Onwards works. I say incredibly close because I'm almost certain I'm doing my collision detection differently, which means the way that ground clearance and falling works will feel different. But the way this works is similar to before, where we click a menu button to turn a controller into our locomotion controller. We walk by touching the touchpad, click down to run, and double-click to briefly sprint. And as you can see here, this is the part I'm really proud of that I got working nicely. It handles sort of vertical changes quite smoothly, even when the sort of physics collision geo is pretty sharp. And we can even fall off of things like so. So yeah, it still glitches out with certain sort of waist-high things, and that I'm pretty sure I can sort of force myself up onto the top of this if I sort of press against it. Yep, there we go. So still working on it. It is harder to create that in a generalized sense than you might believe. And also, just for goofs, I totally implemented some arm swinger, because every game needs an utterly exhausting locomotion mode. So this feels so ridiculous. Whew. So yeah, so that is pretty much everything that I am ready to show at this point. I'm still tearing things apart and reassembling them all across the application. I need to re-implement a sort of good empty hand distant grab for things, and the locomotion system needs more tuning. And of course, I have to wait till I get a slightly more stable patch build of Unity 5.5, because this is still a little crashy completely at random. So anywho, let's go ahead and jump out of VR now.
Yo! Well, I hope you enjoyed that feature preview for what will eventually be Update 32. Just a little bit to talk about scheduling with you. I've decided that instead of rushing, just because the volume of changes, especially with the new Unity version, instead of rushing this into your hands, I'm going to be pushing this build on, let's see, what day will it be? Probably February 3rd, and that's due to a couple things. One, I want to basically not release on a Unity patch build, so I want to wait till they actually get 5.5.1 out. Hopefully it's more stable than what I'm currently working with. And in addition to that, I actually am going to be headed to the other side of the country to visit family for a week this month. So I already have a week of downtime in the midst of things. So it just makes sense to have that be the release date. So I'm still going to keep doing these Friday devlogs because I've got more in progress stuff to show you. Next week I will probably show you a couple of the new firearms that are going in, because I've been working on those in parallel. Basically, when I need a break from all the locomotion system vector math, I'm like, oh, I'll implement a submachine gun. That'll be relaxing. So there's by the time the next update is ready, there's going to be quite an arsenal that's going to be coming with it, along with the new features and the rebuilt systems. So yeah, so as always, I mean, if you keep running into sort of novel bugs and things, please keep reporting them. They're probably, if it's input or if it's locomotion related, it probably won't be relevant, just because of the fact that that's already been completely rewritten at this point. But any other goofy stuff involving individual firearms, please continue to report bugs, and I'll just keep adding them to my endless task list here. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention, along with all of the rebuilds that have been happening, I have managed to implement an abstraction for controller pose. which should hopefully, once again, once this update is ready, make all firearms line up with touch controllers and any other future custom controller I decide to add a definition for far, far better. So it both changes the pose relative to the hand and changes where the interaction sphere is. So it's actually closer to the front rim of the touch controller. So hopefully that should help things. Rightio. Well, I think that is about it for this week. I'd love to know what you folks think of the new features and how they're looking so far. And I will keep you all posted as my giant H3 update adventure continues. So have a wonderful week. Peace.